Good evening, friends. Meeting after a gap of a day. We have started discussing about a very important part from the first aphorism, that is the last three words. And those last three words are very important because those totally defines what homeopathy is there. As it is term means as it is like a cardinal principles of homeopathy along with Hering's law of direction of cure. And in yesterday's session, we have finished only one cardinal principle, that is the law of similars. The both aspects, the regular law of similars along with the nature's law of cure, both are dynamic, both are the law of similars. And we have discussed a drug capable of producing in a healthy individual a disease state exactly similar to that happens in a diseased individual, acts as a curative agent if the disease is in a curable state. And at the same time, we have learned a therapeutic law of cure, or which is also called as dynamic or nature's law of cure, in the defined by Hahnemann in the 26th aphorism, as a weaker dynamic affection is permanently extinguished in the living organism by a stronger one, if latter is very similar to former, whilst differing in kind in its manifestation. And all those things which we have discussed in length with the examples and what is exactly meant by the state and how to define the state, those things which we have discussed. Today, we're going to start with the second cardinal principle. And second cardinal principle, everyone knows, is the law of simplex. Again, it looks too simple to find it out what is the law of simplex. Law of simplex, everyone considers it is just giving a single simple medicine to a patient at a time. It's called as the law of simplex. We mug it up, but we never understand what Hahnemann wants to explain over there. What exactly he wants to explain. And this is too important for us to understand what is exactly he wants to explain through that. When you deal with the patients, with his state, the words which are there in this law, the law of simplex, are very important. Giving a single simple remedy at a time to the patient is called as law of simplex, and this is defined by Hahnemann in the aphorism number 273. Open your 273 aphorism from your book and let us see what he wants to say, because this is completely changed in the 6th edition of Organon of Medicine. There is a difference between 5th and 6th edition of Organon of Medicine, and he here completely clears up the thoughts. So we'll learn that and then we'll understand what he wants to say over there. So let us see what he says in aphorism number 273. In no case under the treatment is it necessary and therefore not permissible to administer a patient more than one single simple medicinal substance at one time. Everyone forgets at one time word. This is too important to understand. It is inconceivable how the slightest doubt could exist as to whether it was more consistent with nature and more rational to the perceptible a single simple medicine at one time in a disease or a mixture of several differently acting drugs. It is absolutely not allowed in homeopathy. The one true, simple and natural art of healing to give the patient at one time, again he makes it in italics over there, at one time two different medicinal substances. This is too important. This is what we have to understand. When you are treating a patient with his state according to the definition of homeopathy, you are finding it out a simillimum for that patient at that specific time. The state with which patient approaches, in which he comes to you, defines his state. And when you find it out your remedy on the basis of state, and if you give that remedy to the patient at that specific time, that state immediately changes because you have applied the law of similars over there. And once you apply the law of similars at that moment, the changes happens over there. Now, first we'll discuss something. Today I will share my screen. It was old PowerPoint. In fact, it was prepared in, I think so, in a very long time I have prepared that. I think it is in 1995 or 1996, maybe. I could not recollect. We'll understand basically what here he wants to explain over there. See, we have discussed this. When mind, body, and soul runs in a perfect harmony with the help of a vital force, we label that person as a healthy. When a person becomes diseased, what happens? Let us see. Because of some inimical forces, the vital energy gets disturbed. Your vital principle gets disturbed. And once it is disturbed, it reflects in the form of signs and symptoms. The trinity between mind, body, and soul completely gets disturbed. And it reflects in the form of this first layer. The central disturbance happens. It appears as the signs and symptoms. And this is the first layer with which it expresses. So this is the first layer with which patient comes to a allopath. He gives some medicines to him. He feels better for time being. Then again, after some time, that patient starts getting something and he goes into second layer of his totality, which is different totality than the first layer. So now he is in a different state, the second layer. Then again he goes to an allopath. He treats him with some again palliative or suppressive measure. Temporarily he feels better, and sometimes it may enter into the third stage, which is defined over there. And in this third layer, so which is totally different than the first layer and second layer, and when this patient comes to a homeopath. So let us see if this patient comes to a homeopath. There are two ways of methods to treat this patient. When we define the Hering's law of direction of cure, what a law defines, the cure must take place from above downwards, within outward, from the center to the periphery, from the organs of greater importance to the organs of lesser importance, or in the reverse order of appearance of the symptoms. Now this patient is in front of you in this recent state, which is recently developed in that patient. And if you are treating this patient with the way, with only considering the state of the patient, not his constitutional remedy, not considering the central disturbance, not considering the miasm, we are considering whatever the presenting state is there. So in this third layer, when patient comes to you and you find it out a remedy, what it will do? When you prescribe one remedy to this patient, for example, you have selected any XYZ remedy. For example, you have selected any remedy like even you have selected a remedy for that specific state with a sulfur also, whatever it may be. What it will cause if you have considered only the external layer of this patient, you will give the medicine and cure starts going in reverse direction. Now the state changes and it brings back again the second stage where the second layer was present. Now the state had changed. Now the patient requires a different remedy because now the totality has been totally changed. So yesterday you might have given one remedy, next day patient comes to you with a different state, you have to find it out a different remedy. And this is what is Hahnemann wants to explain to you. Giving a single simple medicine to a patient at a time is very important. Then if you treat this second layer with another totality, then again the patient goes into a first layer where he was there with the original symptoms of the disease. Now the totality has been totally changed. Again, it has been changed. Now your patient state is now totally absolutely different. It is not one and same. If it is not one and same, how can we be the remedies? First remedy will be the remedy for that patient at that time. Patient comes to you with another layer, and where you have to find it out, right simillimum again. And when you give a remedy to this patient at this level, patient again enters into the state of health. Again goes into the mind, body, and soul, runs in a perfect harmony. This is one method, one way with which you can approach, and you can approach with the Hering's law of direction of cure, one part of Hering's law of direction of cure. Your concept should be very clear. We fight between us because we don't know the concepts clearly. There are two ways of treating the patient. One school is called as Mumbai or Bombay School of Homeopathy. One school is called as Calcutta mode of homeopathy. What is the difference? It is one and same. One is using the Hering's law of direction of cure in the reverse order of appearance of the symptoms, and one is using central disturbance, treating, finding it out a remedy. On the constitution, miasm, everything is taken into consideration and finding it out a one remedy, and which hits at the center. So if you find it out, now this is the second way. Just see in the PPT, this patient comes to you, and when you consider a whole case, that is the third layer, second layer, first layer, along with the central disturbance, along with the miasm, along with the constitution, and you reach to that remedy which has that depth to reach all or to cover all the layers. In such types of cases, the first part of Hering's law of direction of cure works. In this way, in this case, the central disturbance which is disturbed, which recovers very fast. Remedy hits the center, and if it hits the center, the vital force gets free, and gradually all the peripheral problems get settled. So this goes from the center to periphery. Here it reflects externally. Sometimes it cures the patient at the same time also, because your remedy has that depth to reach to that level. It varies from person to person, but this second way of treating is called as the Mumbai method of or Bombay method of treating the patient, is also a right method. When you deal with the chronics, you can go with this, you can find it out, but it requires a time. You have to take into consideration the every aspects. You have to take a detailed case. You have to understand the person as a whole. The yesterday's lecture, we have learned 7 points from the 5th aphorism. How to investigate a fundamental cause. All those are considered in this method. And then you reach to a right remedy, and that remedy is the patient's remedy, which covers that patient from center to periphery. It is also a right method. Both are different, both are right, and both are different. Once you deal with the chronics, this method works in beautiful manner. When if you are treating the patient with the layer by layer, you don't require so much of time. You find it out the state very easily, find it out remedy for that state, and state disappears and new state comes. Because patient disease never develops within a day. It takes a lot of states. It goes on increasing, and in the presenting state patient comes. When you deal with that method, it requires many remedies to change. And then question arises, how can Hahnemann says only one remedy? He has very specifically 3 times in that aphorism mentioned at a time, but no one explains at a time. No one understands the concept. They only fights with the situation that you are giving so many remedies. This is, people never understand. Kent was sitting with the patients for day and night sometimes if he is handling certain patients, and he used to change the remedy after half an hour or 1 hour, because he used to look towards the states. Hahnemann said, you should not mix 2 remedies together in one bottle. Second important thing, this was very, very specific when it was clearly related with the material medicines, when Hahnemann was treating the patient with the material medicine. So with treating the patients with the material medicines, yes, definitely it creates the problem. In 2 materials mixed together, it used to form third molecule. And that's why Hahnemann was very right, because when he formed this law, it was very early. It was not in 6th edition. It was right from the 1st edition. It was there, giving single simple medicine to the patient. But when he was treating the patients with his mother tinctures, in the last 10 years, he was not treating with patients with mother tinctures more, but he was treating the patients with the dynamic medicines, dynamic doses. Second important thing, when you think about this, you should utilize your intellect very specifically. When two dynamic things comes together, it never forms the third dynamic thing. Dynamics works at a dynamic plane. They never gets mixed. There is no addition. There is no subtraction. There is no multiplication. There is no dividation. So this question becomes absolutely wrong at that time when you are treating the patients only with dynamics. And that's why we have to understand all those concepts very, very clearly. Our thoughts should be very clear so that we can understand and utilize medicines, our weapons very properly. And this is what I want to explain to you. So this PPT gives you exact idea that both the methods, if you go with Hering's law of direction with a one way, that is from center to periphery, is also correct. And if you treat layer by layer, it is also correct. And when you are treating layer by layer, you have to take into consideration the sentence. You have to take into consideration the state of the patient. One more aphorism I want to share with you. What he says, that clears your concepts very clearly. Just open your 6th edition. Again, I will share one more aphorism where what Hahnemann says. And if it gets cleared in your mind, open 148 aphorism. My book, it is 214 page. The second paragraph of 148 aphorism. In first paragraph, he explains how to treat acute disease or how acute disease vanishes. And then he deals with the chronic. And what he says, this is too important to understand. One must be very clear regarding it. What he says, an older, more chronic disease will yield somewhat later together with all traces of discomfort. So when you are treating the chronic, patient will not going to get better immediately. It takes long time. And second thing, every time when it disappears, it shows us some discomfort, because when patient asthma is cleared and some skin manifestations comes, those skin manifestations irritates the patient. It produces discomfort. Patient feels very much discomfort even though it is on external aspect, because that is visible aspect. That is where the sensations are more, it irritates the patient. So what is it? An older, more chronic disease will yield somewhat later together with all traces of discomfort by the use of several doses of the same more highly potentized remedy. By the use of several doses. See, very important word he has used when you treat the chronic disease. Several doses of the same more highly potentized remedy. So if you are giving 30, 31, 32 or 30, 200 after 1 m, you have to go on increasing. Or after careful selection of one or another more similar homeopathic medicine. What he said? After careful selection, one or another more similar homeopathic medicine. So here he explains that when you deal with the chronics, it is not a single remedy which will bring that patient out. It requires many a times you have to utilize new remedy after careful selection, again taking the totality. When you are dealing with the states, you have to find it out totality again and again. So it is not wrong that when patient comes and you have selected one remedy, you have given, patient was feeling better, but he is again coming with certain new features. Again, you have to take the totality. This is the way with which you have to approach many times. In practice, this happens many times. And this is too important to understand. We are not doing a wrong thing. Hahnemann have said this is the way, but we never understand it properly. There are many people who makes the confusions in people's mind. They explain that this is the remedy and this is the remedy, the patient's remedy forever, for lifetime. This is wrong. How can it be? Even the constitutional, you are going to find it out. Constitutional remedy never remains always the same, because constitution is also a changeable thing, but it takes a long time to change. So it will not change within a day. So if you have selected a constitutional remedy, for example, calcarea cough to the patient, the calcarea constitution will not going to change immediately. It takes a long period where calcarea constitution may change, and patient may learn into another constitution also. That can be a possibility. But the state changes every moment. At present, I'm discussing something with you. I'm in a different state. I'm in an enthusiastic state. I want to share my knowledge. I want to chat with you. I want to discuss things with you. But what happens after 5 minutes? Someone comes and someone teases me. And my mood changes. And all of a sudden, I become too angry. My state has changed. State varies from time to time in one individual. And that's why you have to understand the state very clearly. And then you have to understand this law of simplex in a better manner, that giving a single simple medicine to a patient at a time is called as law of simplex. Is it clear with you? There are many practitioners over there. Your concept should be clear. This is what I want, I feel. So what do you feel? Is it clear in your mind, or still there is any doubt? If any doubts are there, you can make it clear. So this is what the law of simplex is there. So you have to understand this concept so clearly. So sometimes it might happen, I might give a calcarea carb as a constitutional remedy for the patient, depending upon the whole concept. And then for a present state, I might give him another remedy which is complementary and which covers the acute state. You open your boric symmetra medica if you have it, and open, or if you have repertory in your heart, open the last part where the Gibson-Miller's remedy relationship is given. We have to understand that remedy relationship clearly. The Gibson-Miller have done very beautiful and wonderful work on the remedy relationship. No one have worked. Yes, constitution, the Dr. Rajesh asked, constitution changes. Yes, it changes, but it takes a long time. Your constitution never remains as you were there when you are 2 years old, 3 years old. It changes. It never remains forever. So if constitution changes, the constitutional remedy also changes, because there are many things, many factors comes together. Constitution is the effect of many things. It is not one thing which changes your constitution. There are many impacts on you. When you are in childhood, in early childhood, you are used to remain inside the home. There are the many factors which affects, the domestic factors which affects on you. When you enter the preschool or in KG, then again you come in contact with many children, friends, and your constitution starts changing. When you reach to the middle school, again it changes. This because environment, the personal relationships, the diet, the place, the time, everything acts on you and affects your constitution. You try to adapt that situation, and during the process of adaptation, the constitution changes. It never remains one and same. And this is too important. So constitution definitely changes. So you have to understand these concepts very clearly. So when you are treating all those patients in such a manner, you must clear your mind. Have you opened the remedy relationship? If I have given calcarea carb to the patient as a constitutional remedy, then after giving a constitutional remedy, if a patient has some acute trouble at that time, patient might be having some acute sore throat, throbbing sore throat. The tonsils are absolutely congested over there, associated with severe headache, associated with fever without a thirst. The state is of a belladonna. You can select that belladonna as an acute remedy for that patient. Even though you have given a calcarea carb, you are not mixing belladonna and calcarea together. You give the belladonna first, afterwards you can give calcarea. Or if you would have given the calcarea, you give belladonna afterwards. Because that complements, belladonna is complemented by calcarea carb, and calcarea carb is also complemented by belladonna. If you open over there your book, you will find that calcarea carb, there is belladonna is complementary, and in belladonna calcarea carb is also complementary. For the calcarea carb, there is another complementary, that is rustox is also there. Just open over there. I'm damn sure about it. Sometimes patient might land into the rustox and he comes to you with rustox state and you give the rustox, and at the same time patient requires the constitutional remedy because that is only a presenting symptomatology. Patient is suffering from long time. Calcarea may complement rustox, or sometimes if you would have given calcarea to the patient, patient may require rustox as a complementary to that patient at the presenting acute state. And this is what is understanding the remedies in a proper manner and giving that remedy to that patient at that specific time. So you might require sometimes one remedy, after that another remedy. Sometimes next day you might require another remedy. This may happen. If you read the Nash Medica, you will find that he used to tell truth what he has done. He says that I was wrong with this remedy and then I have changed the remedy. This is what he says. These combinations, your question, Farin, very good. That you said that there are many combinations with which the companies are coming. That is the company strategy, but that is not homeopathy. That is not a homeopathy. If any combination has made, have they made the proving of that combination? No. Then that is not the patient's remedy. That is not a homeopathy. When you mix it together, is not a homeopathy. This is against homeopathy. So this is not the thing. This is absolutely wrong. Yes, that is called as a lucky hit, as Ali says. That might be called as a gunshot therapy also. That is not a gunshot therapy. That they used to use mixing it together and many combinations, but these combinations creates a problem. Sir, when asked that homeopaths abide by law of simplex, then why do they use drugs like calcarea phos, magnesium phos? What could be the best answer to them? Calcarea carb is the molecule which happens in the nature in that form. And Hahnemann have done a proving of a calcarea carb. When Hahnemann proved the calcarea carb, he has proved the calcarea carb. And in the nature, you get that molecule in the same form. Same is true with the MAC phos. It used to find it out in nature in the same form, MAC phos. And Hahnemann have never mixed together magnesium and phosphoricum and then he explained the MAC phos. He has not done that. He has proved the MAC phos on people, on the provers, healthy human beings. Then that becomes a remedy for MAC phos. That shows the symptomatology of MAC phos. So he has considered the remedies or the drugs from the nature in the same form, and then he has proved it. And after proving, he has shown this is the symptomatology of it. This is not a mixopathy. But if you mix together like that, then you will find the such problems. There is one more thing, from descending order, individuality includes social and environmental side, occupation, intellectuality, and another component which I am not able to recall. If possible, please recap that term, that is individuality. So Yes, I think she has answered some question over there. There was one more question. Why she has written? What Tasmina? What do you have explained? Basically, when you think about the constitution, this constitution is gradually changing phenomena, and it depends upon many things. The present generation is absolutely different than our generation. There is every time a change has happened, and even that generation never remains to be one and same. It also goes on changing. There is an evolution. So constitution remedy is a different aspect. We'll deal with it whenever time permits. But let us go with the Organon, first the cardinal principles, and understand the cardinal principles properly. So I think I have made it clear regarding the second law, that is the law of simplex. And always when many students are there also, my suggestion is that when you are referring anything, you must have knowledge about these aphorisms. Give the references, what Hahnemann have said in such and such aphorism. Then you have fixed thing to tell, yes, this is what given in the books. So this is what is the law of simplex. Today we'll stop with law of simplex because tomorrow we have to discuss one more law, and that is again it takes the one complete lecture, law of minimum dose. Because there are again many misconceptions in our mind. So we have to go to that law and we have to understand it in depth. So my question is, are you happy with it? The way we are going, are you happy or do you want anything else?
Yes, sir. We are happy.
Thank you, Pallavi. You are there. Basically, you are finding it out a time specifically. This is very difficult for the people who have married. But thank you being there. And second thing, many of you have joined our sessions. I'm quite sure that you are learning many things from them. There might be some problem at the level of vocabulary, but that I am quite sure that they will also get how to talk, how to discuss, how to show, how to present. That within 10-15 days they will be very familiar with you. And my basic question is, suggestion is that whatever your queries are there, put to them so that they convey that their queries to me and I can share with you. Second important thing, tomorrow is Sunday. I'm not sure at what time I will going to take a session, but tomorrow I will definitely go with the session. As the time is fixed, I will let you know in our Divine School of Homeopathy, and it will be open only for the members of the Divine School of Homeopathy. You will going to learn many things in tomorrow's session, and it will be on Google Meet because we don't have to take a break and again join. So I will share the link of Google Meet tomorrow, and I will schedule the time. Once it is fixed, I will let you know, so that we'll have a big chat, and you should be able to talk not only through the chat written over there, but you can open your mic and just talk to me, so that it will a good two-way communication, and that I like more. So we have to learn like this, and we have to learn more and more about the homeopathy, and we have to learn more and more about the human beings. Once you understand the human beings clearly, you can find it out a very right remedy for the people. So thank you being there for since long time. Do join with Dr. Sachin Thange, who will going to take a session, and I'm quite sure he will going to share lot of things to you. Very nice presentation he has prepared for today's session. Don't miss that, because you will learn different aspects in that session. He has worked hard, very hard to prepare that. So it is a good presentation which you should not miss. And those who have not yet joined for our Divine School of Homeopathy, do join Divine School of Homeopathy. Ask your friends to join, so that it will be a very good platform to all of you for in future also, and you will have good communication between you and me through the Divine School of Homeopathy. So thank you being there. Thanks Karuna, thanks Swarna, Thanks, Ali, Anuja, Anupama, Chaitrali, and Dr. Anita, Anupam Verma, Dr. Rajiv, Persona, Parin, Payal, Paurnima, Prerna. Everyone is there, and thank you, big thank you to all of you. We'll meet tomorrow. I will let you know the timings. Thanks a lot.